Hello, PC Guides here. Today we're going to be going over Linux operating systems. And mainly this is going to be an introduction to a several part series of just how to get everything up and going and how to get it started. I'm going to be using mine in VMware Workstation. That's where I'll upload and create my new operating system. If you don't have a workstation and you don't want to pay for it, you can download VMware Workstation Player. I'll leave a link in the description for that. So go ahead and click on Create a New Virtual Machine. Click Next. I'm going to be using Fedora, so go ahead and click Browse. Go to wherever you have your Fedora ISO. If you haven't downloaded it yet, now would be a good time to do it, and then come back to the tutorial. So, click your ISO, click Open. I suggest that you also use Fedora when doing this, as Fedora will go along very well with what I'm going to be doing in the tutorials. So click Next. Enter the full name. We're just going to call it Test. Your username, I'm also going to call it Test. And the password, just whatever password that you want to use. Click Next. The virtual machine name, I'm going to call it Test. See if I like that word. Click Next. I'm going to bump this down to 10 gigs. I don't need 20. Store as a virtual disk. Store a virtual disk as a single file. So click Next. And go ahead and click Finish. And as soon as you click Finish, it's going to pop up this screen, and it should start powering on. Remember to use VMware Workstation to actually, after you create it, you have to click into the screen. That way you can actually access your virtual machine. When you want out, do Control-Alt. I'm not doing a tutorial on VMware, but there's a couple things people may not know. So this part of the video may take quite a while, so I'm probably going to pause through it. That way we don't have to sit here, and this video would take forever if I waited for it to install it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause at this point, and I'll come back after it's completed. So now, as you can see, everything is almost completed. We're just waiting for Fedora to complete it, complete the rest of the installation process. We'll just talk a little bit today about what we're going to go over before we get into this. Mainly today was just to set up VMware using Fedora or whatever Linux operating system you choose to use. And we're going to go over the CD command and the ls command. We're not going to go into ls hard, but we will go into it just a little bit so you can understand it. You got to kind of understand the ls command before you can understand the CD command. This shouldn't take much longer, and everything will be good to go. But later on in the tutorials, in the parts that we're going to do, we're going to cover scripting. But before we can really dive into scripting, we really have to get a hold on some of the other commands first, because you're not going to understand how to do vim or any of the other things that we script with until you can get the basic commands out of the way. So if you're liking what you've seen so far, which we haven't really dove into anything yet, we're just kind of starting out, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And I'm not going to be just doing Linux tutorials. There's a few other things I want to cover with Windows Server 12 and the brand new Windows operating system, Windows 10. There's a lot of things that really need to be covered in 12 that I think I can do a pretty good job at. And Windows 10 is the brand new operating system, and unfortunately we live in a Windows world. And, you kind of got to understand it a little bit. But Windows 10 is going to be awesome. Normally don't say that about Windows products, but Windows 10 will be great. It's nothing like Windows 8. Well, a little bit. But it's brought back some of the old features that Windows 7 has, and it's really good. Alright, as you can see, Fedora's booting up. This lovely back screen for you there. Go ahead and click on your username that you used, whatever you used, and type in your password. after you get that, just click close. So this is what you get. This is the desktop for Fedora. It's there's nothing there, so it's a little bit different than what you're used to on Windows probably. Let's just go over a few of the things here in the places. This is where all your your home folders, your desktop, everything that you need to get to, your file system is all going to be here in places, as well as the computer and the network, and so you can connect to a server. Here's your applications, your accessories, all the stuff you need there. The games, there's a few games installed on here. Graphics, internet, you get your Firefox sitting right there, and the other date and time, firewalls, network connections, remote desktop, and the programming, system tools. Right here is where we're going to stay for the majority of the time during this tutorials, or not just this tutorial, but pretty much the whole part, or the whole time we're here. We're going to be in the terminal. So go ahead and click on terminal, open it up. As you see over here, we have a test. This is just your username at localhost. So we'll go ahead and dive into the ls command first. So you go ahead and type in ls here, and it tells you everything that's here in this directory. You get your desktop, documents, downloads, and etc., whatever you may have in that. So we'll dive into CD a little bit. That's pretty much it for ls. I mean, there's you can do a ls-l, which will show you all the directories. If it has a D over here, that means they're directories. Then you got the owner, the group, and then everybody else on the system, and their privileges. Read, write, and X for executable. So you can see that right there. Then it has your directories over here. So that's pretty much it for ls. So we'll go ahead and work on CD. CD stands for change directory, or change working directory. If you do a CD dot, this takes you nowhere. CD dot by itself stands for change to the current directory. It can't change anywhere because the dot stands for current directory. So if you do a CD dot dot, this changes to the parent directory. So it takes you back one step to the home directory. And as you can see, we're in the home directory. So we'll go ahead and do a CD to test. This will change back to our test directory. And if we do a CD /, this will change to the root directory. Go ahead and do an ls on that, and it'll show you everything there and there in the root directory. So we go ahead and do a CD back to home. Shows us there. Do an ls. It takes us to test. And do a CD to test, and we're back in there. Another thing that would be good to cover while we're here is type of PWD. PWD stands for present working directory, and it'll give you the / means root, so we're at root, and then there's home/test, and that's where we are. We are sitting in test. So PWD is good to figure out. If you ever get lost in the file system, do a PWD, and that'll show you where you are. Well, I think that's going to be all for this one. This is pretty much just down and dirty to CD. CD does nothing but change directory. So I'll probably go ahead and end this video right now. Thank you guys for listening and watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and click the subscribe button down there at the bottom. I will throw a link in the description for VMware Player if you don't have it. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.